feel so welcome when you walk into the stadium and you have all that energy behind you. It just really makes you want to have a great performance. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting out there and just that crowd support that just really brings a lot of energy.
Sanya, would you double in Daegu?
Absolutely. You know, I think it's such a great opportunity for us to have the chance to do the 2 and the 4. And I was reflecting today on my first major competition when I ran in Jamaica for the World Juniors. And I did the double then, and now I guess, 10 years later, I have an opportunity to do it again. So I'm really excited about it. I definitely am not gonna get ahead of myself. I know it's gonna be hard to make that 200 here on Sunday because Bianca Knight, Chalanda Mooney, so many, Marsha Vet, a lot of the women are running really, really well. So I'm gonna have to be on my A game. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. But I mean, I definitely think if I make it in both, I'm definitely gonna attempt the double at Worlds.
How about a triple? Would you run the 4x4?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, of course, I think we have a day off after the 200 before the 4x4 finals. I'm not sure if I'll be able to run the prelims like I normally do, but of course, you know, that's what we train to do. I mean, that's less than we ever do in practice, to run one run a day. So if I make it in both and I'm able to make it through all the rounds and I run the finals in the 200, I would definitely be there for my team and go for one more medal in the 4x4.
How about 4x1?
No, I think that would be a little too much. I don't think they'd want me. I'd probably be useless after doing all those races, so most likely not.
What about you, Allyson? 4x1?
Yeah, I love the 4x1. That's I think an easier thing for me. That's where my heart is.
4x4?
Yep.
Has there been any expectations given to you guys about what they want to see you do to be as part of the, you know, relay teams? Obviously, you guys are shoo-ins if you want it, but I know that they've been talking about changing some things.
I think the biggest thing is just really, you know, showing your performance for things like the 4x1. You know, if you're not in the 100, it's really about excelling in the event that you are in and just really showing that, you know, you want to be on the team and also taking part in previous events like pin relays. So just really making yourself available and for meetings and just things like that.
I mean, for me, really, the only thing I really focus on is the 400 and the 4x4. So, I mean, when I go to Worlds and everything, I know I'm going to run the 4x4. They already know that. So really, my main goal is the 400. But once after that, I mean, they know I'll be ready to run the 4x4.
Yeah, there have been a lot of talks about trying to put out clear-cut rules on how do you qualify for the 4x1 or 4x4. I don't think anything has been put in stone yet, and as of right now, it's just showing fitness and being available for the meetings. And they have sent us out when we need to be there for camps if you want to be considered for the 4x1 and the 4x4. And they'll have 2 or 3 meets before the World Championships that the athletes will compete in. So those are the qualifications. But mainly, you want to just make the team and then be available if you're needed for the relays.
To follow up on that, you guys both have had Olympic experience. Do the preparations of the U.S. need to be tightened up a little?
For the relays?
Yes. What does anything need to be done?
You know, that's a really tough question. I think we've just had some misfortune in the past. We have a great group of athletes every single year that can win the gold medal, and for whatever reason, we've just had some major mishaps. And I don't think it needs to be tighter, because I think that's been one of the problems. It's become kind of stressful as opposed to just fun. And so I think if it became looser again and athletes focused on their main events and just came together and had fun in the relays, we'd find that same success we had in the past. So it's a tough question, and I know the coaches are putting their heads together and trying to figure out what they need to do to make it better, but I just think it's been some misfortune. I think the pendulum will swing back in our favor and we'll start to dominate again soon.
What's it like having your husband home more, and are you looking for a quick resolution on this thing?
Good question. No, I'm in no rush. I mean, I love having my hubby home. No, but I mean, it has been great. Ross and I have been training a lot together. He's actually been on the track with me, running some 200s and 150s. I know his coach is gonna be really impressed. But anyway, so it's been really great for me. But that's kind of selfish. My husband wants to be back working. He loves what he does, and you know, we hope that they will resolve this issue soon so he can be back in New York for training camps. But I mean, I've definitely enjoyed having him home over this period of time.
So the follow-up, when you tell him, honey, take out the trash, does he?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's why I married him, you know? He listens well.
Allyson, which would be more important to you? Doubling or getting that special fourth 200?
That's an interesting question. I think that the fourth 200 victory is something that would definitely be very special. But I think the opportunity to double is also something that doesn't come around a lot. So I think that if I feel good and if things were, set up right and everything was going great, then I would love to, take advantage of the opportunity and to be able to double. So I don't know, that's a tough one to call.
Did you have to convince Bob, or did Bob convince you that you should go for it?
It was funny. I think that I was the one who actually wanted to at least run the 400 at trials. And like I said, I haven't ran it before. I haven't done rounds. So I'm really just interested to see how I'm able to handle all of that. And he loves, he loves the 400. So it wasn't a tough sell.
When you heard him say he was leaning towards playing it safe, was that the Bob Kersey you knew?
I think, we were so into just looking how everything was progressing this year that it didn't surprise me too much because I think he knows how much I love the 100, and I think I haven't had too many opportunities to run it that much, and I think he sees in practice that it's really coming along. So I think he wanted me to be able to showcase that a little bit, but I've just decided to be patient and to focus on the 400.
Hey, Jeremy, you'd like to run against the best of the best. Are you kind of hoping that LaShawn's back for Worlds, or how do you view that whole thing?
If he's there, he's there. If he's not, he's not. My main focus is on my own race, to train and get ready for my race. So if he's there, I welcome him. If he's not, I'm gonna have to race whoever steps on the line.
Who are your biggest rivals then? Do you race against clock? I mean, do you not really pay attention to?
I pay attention to him a little bit, but my main focus has always been running my own race, because if I run my own race, I know I can run faster than anybody else. But I know Jermaine's going to be there. Of course, the two kids from Grenada are coming up running pretty fast. And then there's a few guys in the U.S. that have ran 44 in college. So, right now it's wide open. And it's hard to say who's going to make the team and who's going to do well at Worlds.
The only reason I bring it up is because you guys always push each other, you and LaShawn. You guys always have epic battles. I mean, does part of you need someone to push you like that?
No, I mean, there's people out there that can push me. I mean, you saw it in New York that I barely won down the home stretch. Last year, Jermaine was pushing me throughout the whole year. So really, anyone out there right now is a great push. I just got to stay focused on myself.
For Allyson,
I'll just ask Jeremy, at what point do you stop running your race and race against somebody in the straight if they're close? Well, it does take over, doesn't it?
No, because my race at the end is to stay focused and stay relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
When I start trying to race somebody, that's when you tighten up and trying to compete against the person next to you, and you'll start tightening up and everything. But as long as you stay focused on what your race strategy is, even down the home stretch, if you stay relaxed and focus on the finish line, then everything will go pretty well.
for Sanya and Allyson, what's the hardest thing that you see about doubling, and coming from both ends of it, would both of you prefer the two to be first, as it is not in Daegu, or does it matter to either one?
Well, for me, I'm happy the 400's first. So I like the way the schedule is. Of course, my main focus is to defend my world title in the 400. So to be able to get that one out the way, I think is a plus for me. And I think the most challenging part of doing the double is just making it through the rounds and conserving enough energy to be at your best in the finals of both races. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. But for me, I like the way the schedule is.
Of course, I would love for it to be reversed. I think, of course, you want to do your favorite event first, and the 400 is the first one out there. So I would have to, sacrifice a little bit to do that first. And I think the hardest thing about it is, like Sanya said, going through the rounds and just being ready to take on all of that, making sure you're feeling good. And for me, I also think that it's easier to sprint first and then come back, but it's reversed. So you just have to go with it is. And training has been set up that way to handle that kind of stuff. But yeah, to answer the question, I would definitely want the 200 first.
I wonder if any of the three of you have ever spoken to or shouted at anyone else during a race.
No, I haven't.
Like, while we're actually running? I don't think that's kind of hard to do with you trying to stay focused and breathing and everything. No?
I know somebody who has, so.
Maybe like in an 800 or something. Get out the way, move. But not hours.
Speaking of 800, have you ever considered moving up?
No.
Nope.
Speaking of hearing things, when you guys are on the track, and Jeremy, you talked about you're focused all the way, but when you're in a stadium full of people, whether it be here at Hayward or in Berlin, and your race is exploding big time, and the crowd is going absolutely nuts, can you hear the crowd get excited? Can you hear them say, "Look at this! This is special"? Or are you just you have the blinders on and the earplugs in, just like, I gotta do my best?
You know, for me, it was actually easy for me to tone out the crowd, even at a big meet, being that when I first started running, my mom, I was always able to point her out in the crowd while I was running. So I've learned to actually tone out the crowd because of that. Now in the relay it's a little different, because if you're coming from behind, whenever you hear the people start going, ooh, when you're starting to pass people, you know, it kind of gives you the motivation to run even faster. But in the open, you know, I've always been able to tone out the crowd.
Okay, ladies, if you doubled in Daegu, would it be certain that you would try it again in London?
If I did the double and I was successful, then I think I would attempt it again if the schedule allowed it, especially having the 400 first and maybe a day or two off before the 200. Then, I mean, that would be a dream come true for me to potentially be in my third Olympic Games and to attempt the double. I definitely would go for it again.
Yeah, I think it's all about how the double goes. You know, I think it's about the experience of it, how the body is feeling. The Olympic Games is such a bigger production that this is really a learning experience. You know, if we go ahead with it. So just trying to take everything, learn from it, and then make a decision from there.
Sanya said she definitely would do it. What are the percentages of you doubling in Daegu?
At this point, I'm 50-50. I would have to make the team first, so that's the biggest thing. I think if the 200 was first, I'd go for it too. But it's not the case. I want to be cautious. I want to learn how the rounds go and just see from there.